Hey everybody, what is up? Toby Salgado. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Today's show is really late, and I apologize about it for sure. You moving into the holidays, guys? I've just been really busy. And plus, I'm trying to, as you guys know, I'm trying to launch, 8 weeks ago, we launched the radio offering for everybody. Everybody who is who wants to level up and dominate their market. I'm getting to the sponsorship before I even really meant to. So sponsored by us, realestateradioexperts.com. We're building that website out right now. And if you have thought about getting on the radio and doing some advertising, there's no better place that you can get massive reach and reach the side that you want, the listing site. So you can email me and let me know that you're interested. We can have a quick chat. Now, before we get to the content, look, I always try to be very nice with all of my guests. And even when I go back, I do an interview, and I pull as much stuff as I can out of everyone that comes on the show. And I do it for you guys, right? I mean, I have to give you guys good content. So you keep tuning in, right? And our ratings go up, and hopefully that, you reach out and give us a review on iTunes. And by the way, that really helps the show. So sometimes, many times, what I'll do is I'll record, and then when I save the recording, I'll give it sort of a grade, right? I'll give it sort of a grade because I kind of want to know before I release it or like upload it into our software to work on it to bring it to you guys if it's any good or not. Now, dude, I don't talk crap about my guests, and I don't want to do it today. But I will say that sometimes people come on and they tell me stuff that I find a little bit incredulous, and everybody wants to feel like a superstar, so I kind of let them do their thing. And I kind of re-listened to this one, and the girl, kept saying how she could see the foreclosure crisis coming, and I don't know. Anyhow, so be prepared for that. She's going to tell you that she saw the foreclosure crisis coming. I'm not going to tell you whether she did or she didn't, but I can tell you the numbers that she's putting up does not reflect that. So there are a few nuggets in here. So hopefully you stick with it and don't take it easy, man. Don't. If you're kind of judgy, just listen to it. And look, and by the way, guys, I do a lot of interviews, and not all of them are good. And and I'm a little bit spoiling you guys, and I want to, but if I look back through the episodes, it goes 900 transactions, 500 transactions, 900 transactions, 1,200. I'm bringing you guys all these superstars, and here's the deal. Here's what I'm doing. Here is what I'm doing. Starting as of about 2 weeks ago. So starting about 2 weeks ago, I am not just going out for the top people across the nation, because maybe you're out there doing 10 deals, 20 deals, 30 deals a year, and then I bring somebody on and the guy's like, yeah, dude, I did 700 transactions last year. I don't know that you guys can relate to that. Now, there's great content in every one, but will you guys, what does that do to your mindset? Look, I've talked with people, and one of two things happen. Some people get really excited. Oh yeah. I want to hear what this guy, how does he get 900, 700, 1,000, right? And then some other people go, man, that's just so unattainable for where I'm at that it a little bit bums some people out, or so I've been told. So here's what I'm doing is we are taking a geographic approach to this. I'm talking to people in Portland, people in Phoenix, right? You name it. We're looking at the top 100 radio markets, and that's where we're focusing on. So hopefully, and maybe, because maybe the way you get deals and do deals and the flavor and the taste is different in Portland than it is in Phoenix, than it is in LA, than it is in Chicago. Certainly, there's different niches in a Chicago versus a Portland. So that's what I'm doing. And I have to tell you that in some markets, you literally can be doing 80 deals and be at the top of the pyramid. I just talked with a guy in Michigan, 200 deals. He's at the top of his pyramid, the market there. And I'm finding out some of these people to be at the top, to do 80, 100 deals. Sometimes you don't have to get tricky, man. You just have to just do your thing. So I'm struggling with bringing you guys relevant geographic interviews and trying to get you good content. Sometimes those don't go hand in hand. So anyhow, I'm sorry about this long rant. Let's get to the show. Cassie is her first name, and her last name is eluding me. All right, sorry about the lateness, guys. Let's get to it. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Hey, Cassie, thanks for taking the time out today. Hey, I've given the audience a brief overview of your background, but maybe take a minute, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
I started off one of the agents in my area in Michigan at Cereal City and Battle Creek who could foresee the foreclosures coming. So I attacked that market, trying to gain as much knowledge as possible and pushing myself into the real estate business through foreclosures, and worked my way up into regular residential, as I'm not originally from Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm originally from Jackson, Michigan, but I came here via Arkansas, where I worked with Tyson Foods beforehand.
Got it. Okay, let's go back for a second. So when did you get into real estate as a whole?
In 2001.
2001. So you went through the boom time, right? So you're a traditional agent there. Then you're saying that sometime in 06, 07, you saw the collapse coming.
I actually started working with REO companies doing price opinions in 2001, and then gained more clients that were dealing in that area through a series of events from a local competitor who no longer wanted to work with them. He recommended that they call me. So I started working with them, and as I saw the price opinions coming, I saw the wave coming.
Interesting. So, I mean, so maybe unpack that a little bit, because that's a viewpoint that a lot of people didn't, nobody saw that coming for the most part.
Right. As the demand for the price opinions and drive-by price opinions increased, I foresaw that we were then going at such a furious pace through the market that this was an area that could potentially give me a huge amount of business, and just started applying to other REO companies. I've worked with Wells Fargo and Chase and Bank of America, just started working up the ladder to get accumulated more of the same client to sustain business and growth.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so you're saying you saw this coming, and basically you just kind of doubled down on it.
Yes, I did.
And so during that time period, tell me how that worked out for you. I mean, you can, it's great to see a trend like this, and this is, I think success in a lot of ways, it's a lot about, there's a portion of luck involved, right? So you just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and you had this viewpoint of, okay, I see price opinions are decreasing, I can see foreclosures coming. And then you doubled, so you said, okay, this is going to be my niche, right? This is going to be my niche, and this is what I'm going to move forward. Maybe, again, dig into that a little bit more in terms of what did you do? You saw it coming, and then what? How did you double down on it?
I started acquiring other agents for my team. So I hired an unlicensed assistant to basically do the reimbursements, help out with general data entry and placement of signs, etc. I hired 3 additional agents, one that would also list the REO properties and had her own network of clients, and it doubled the workload immediately. Hired 2 other agents who would work buyers and help us check on the properties. There are weekly checks that are involved to make sure that the property doesn't have a tree sticking out of the roof or water in the basement. And then just attended the conferences, 5-star, REO Mac, all of that. Attended all of that to keep going faster and further.
Okay, and what? So when you, yeah, and I've heard this story before. I mean, I've had a few people on that they kind of did the same thing. So you went to, what did you get out of these conferences? What were you looking for?
I was looking for a network of other foreclosure clients. You were able to, at 5 Star, you're able to sit down at the round table and basically throw your business card in. They may be full at the time of agents and not accepting any new agents. However, by always pushing your name in front of them, they eventually, and your resume, you do have to have a resume, they eventually did take a look at you and reach out to you. A lot of times just being face-to-face with someone, they can gain a lot of confidence in you by the way you can talk to them about what your services can entail. You know, I had a maintenance company that I could rely on, a lawn service company, I had a maid cleaning service. There was a lot that we could rely on based on the team photographer, the team administrator, the team sign guy. Once they could see you and talk to you, it was a little bit better than just shoving a piece of paper through an email.
Sure. Okay, so that obviously worked for you. I mean, and at that time, I mean, if we go back to '08, right? You know, and in terms of short sales, banks didn't know how to do them, and it took. I mean, like somebody like a B of A, it took them 3 years to figure that out. You know, who was sort of like who had it figured out early on that you saw?
Wells Fargo had it figured out early on.
Yep.
They actually have an asset company called Premier Asset Services. I worked with them for 13 years. I also work with another company, Select Portfolio Servicing, that I still work with. They had it figured out. They have multitudes of different clients, not just their own loans that they serviced or, you know, did the foreclosure REO management of.
I mean, in a place like Michigan, Michigan got hit really, really hard. I mean, you know, and I don't know about Battle Creek. I don't know. How far are you away from Detroit?
I'm about 2.5 hours west of Detroit, in Battle Creek. You know, it was really sad to see Michigan in the top 10 almost every single month for a couple of years. With the decline of the auto service, we are a blue-collar state. We do rely on the auto industry, and it was very hard to see that happen. It was... You know, I watched my own clients who had bought a property from me early in my career get foreclosed on because they lost their jobs.
Right. I mean, if we look at a place like Michigan, I mean, what's going on? I mean, you can literally buy a house for like $1,000, right? I mean, what is going on with that?
Well, with the decline of Detroit and bankruptcy filed, there's houses over there that are $500 that HUD was selling. But it comes with a certain amount of financial responsibility. The city does have code issues over there, as well as we do here. We have to work with the city code compliance officers and department in order to get the certificate of occupancies put back in. But it was an easy way for people to buy those, but most of them had been urban mined. The plumbing was gone, the electric was gone, the roof was failing. There was no windows left that hadn't been boarded up. So we still have areas where we have a lot of accumulation of that, but the cities are trying to find the best way to get those back into someone who is willing to do the work, pay a little bit for the property, do a lot of the work, and then live there.
Is that going to happen? I mean, if you can buy a house for $500, it almost seems like, you know, and I don't know how old these houses are, but you know, with an old house, it almost seems like you could, you know, I'm in San Diego, right? In LA, you know, all these designers want the, you know, old wood. It almost seems like you could buy a house, dismantle the thing, and sell that wood to some artist in LA, and you know, and make some money off of it.
There are some older houses like that, but with people like Nicole Curtis, who is the rehab addict on one of the DIY channels, she's coming into Detroit and she's buying them for $1, $1,000, what have you, and she's putting the life back into them. Let's see how successful she is as she does hopefully more in that city to bring that up. There are people that are wanting the older homes fully restored. The price is going to be a different situation.
Well, I mean, right. So this, I mean, if you think about, you know, so we had this big collapse in '08, right? I mean, everything, you know, banks started failing and housing and all that stuff. And everybody said, hey, listen, you know, before housing prices are going to come back, we need to see unemployment come back, right? So, and we saw the Fed play with interest rates, and they were able to manipulate housing come back without having unemployment come first. So you can, going back to this girl, you can buy a house for $1,000. I'm sure labor's cheap, so you fix it all up. But still, if you don't have the auto industry there, if you don't have some sort of employment engine, who's going to live there?
Well, we had Google come into Ann Arbor and create some jobs there. Some of our auto industry suppliers here in Battle Creek rehired, and they're back to full capacity, if not running overtime. So it's coming back. I mean, the auto sales have gained strength. They've come back, and in an area where you like to see that, we're seeing more and more growth as far as people are getting employment, people are getting those jobs, they're getting hired in, and it's rebounding.
Yeah, look, and this show's not really. I don't want to talk about like economic stuff. So, this show, and I got a little bit off sidetrack, but that stuff is interesting to me. So let's talk about so if somebody wants to be successful, going the REO route. I mean, that's for the most part everywhere in the nation. That doesn't exist anymore. It's a very, very well, foreclosures will always exist, but it's going to be a very, very small sliver moving forward. So.
Exactly.
What did you do? So were you on the cusp on the other end of it? Meaning, did you start to see, okay, this foreclosure pipeline is going to dry up, and I need to reinvent my business again?
In 2011, I became a Keller Williams agent and disbanded my old team, moved to Keller Williams, and started what I foresaw a new growth, a new viewpoint on real estate. I started to see some of the smaller companies, with Bank of America doing their own management of their foreclosures and their REO properties, farming that back out to asset companies. That took a little bit of a chunk. Then smaller asset companies were drying up and dissolving, filing bankruptcy, what have you. I saw the potential that this industry for REO properties isn't going to be around forever. So it was time to make a switch to get back into more of the traditional real estate. In the spring of 2014, I took a course sponsored by Keller Williams called Bold. And it was an eye-opening. The scripts, the procedures, how to handle objections. And I gained a lot of knowledge in that. It kind of solidified already what I had been doing with my traditional clients, but it pushed me into a different level. And I'm averaging about 3 listing appointments a week. It is not a lot compared to some areas, but in this area, that's huge if you're going on 3 listing appointments a week. I'm running a new team. I'm in a mega agent office in Battle Creek. I have 3 teammates. I'm getting ready to add 2 additional teammates to my team, all doing traditional. I still have the background to do the foreclosure sales. I got certified in short sales to help people out, but I think it's important if you're relying heavily on the REO business, it's not going to be around forever. Don't wait until the bucket drops out from beneath you before you start pushing back into traditional. It took a while to get into it. It's going to take a while to get out of it. And I still have some REO business from some local lenders and one of my national asset companies that I've worked with for a while. But it's not something I want to rely on.
So let's talk about some of the Bold stuff that you learned, right? So Bold, Diana Kakoska, and I've talked to her before. Bold stands for Business Objective Life by Design. So what did you learn from there? That because look, here's what they say, right? I'm looking at the site right now. Bold graduates increased their closed transactions by 50% and increased their income by 114%. What was the kind of takeaways that you got that was sort of an eye opener for you?
That perhaps I was working too hard and spending too much time. I'm working smarter now. When I was taking the Bold class, I had 3 listing appointments a week. That just by the procedures that are taught in the Bold class and the challenges that we do, I did a Bold 100. I did 100 phone calls in a day. I reached out to 100 people in one day, And from that, get a huge amount of appointments that maybe perhaps I wouldn't have done otherwise. It's a whole different life. I don't work as long hours. I'm doing the same income. In fact, it's up.
Okay, so again, I want to get into sort of, if we can, some of the actual like nitty gritty, right? So again, I'm on the site. It'll say you will, number one, set bold goals. So what did you learn about goal setting that helped you in your business and life?
One of the things that always helps me is to have my personal goals always visible, so I know what I'm reaching for. Mm-hmm. I've always been one to set goals, 1, 2, 5 year, 10 year. I've always been good at that since the beginning of my real estate career. It just solidified that I'm on the right path for that. But I never carried around one. They say in bold that if you always can see what your goals are, you're more likely to never forget them. How many of us go to, a New Year's Eve party and we set, these little resolutions for the new year, and they're gone a week later. These I keep on a Post-it note in my notebook. Every day I review them. Every day I look at them. It's a challenge to me to meet those goals. I don't make easy goals. I make goals I have to work for, because I think those, if you make something that's easily attainable, you're not doing yourself any justice.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's funny. So I had Tom Ferry on the show, and his, what Tom always does is with his clients, he'll say, "Hey, tell me how much money you want to make this year or next year or whatever," and people will write it down, right? And then, like, it's just him. He goes, add a 0 to that. And I mean, everybody knows he's going to say add a 0 to it, but that's what he says, add a 0 to that. And even for him personally, one of the things he does every morning, he's got this routine. Every morning, he goes through all his goals, and what he does with his personal income, he multiplies it by 10. So if he says, "Hey, I want to make $1 million," he goes, "I want to make $10 million." He knows that he's never going to get that. He knows he's not going to hit that with the 10 million. But for him, it helps him sort of reach that real $1 million goal. And I don't know if that's a little bit hokey, but I guess that there's something to that.
There is something to that. I took what my goal was and times it by 1.5.
Okay.
And that's my goal. I made a goal, and I do have to work for it, but that's my goal.
It's funny. I mean, if you did that with everything, right? So you take your income. I want to make $1 million and multiply it by 1.5. I want to make, 100 phone calls today and multiply that by 1.5. It seems like if you did that with everything, and is that, well, look, I mean, let me ask you, is that what do they tell you to break it all down line item by line item and then multiply it by some multiple?
Well, we don't get into the exact details of that, but they do always challenge us. During the whole 7-week course of Bold, we had to set goals for the next week. We had to state our goals. Come in, did you make your goal for the next week? And if so, why not? Our instructor, we had Wayne Salmons, he challenged us. He would look at you and go, well, why are you only going to do 3? Why aren't you doing 7? Why aren't you doing 10? He would challenge you personally to make those goals better. That when you come in from the challenge of saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and you've made that challenge, I made that challenge. You suddenly figured out that it wasn't so hard to make the goal.
Yeah. Well, and look, and here's the deal, right? And here's the next piece of it. A lot of people have, people have limiting beliefs. I coach one super, super nice lady, and she's got all these limiting beliefs about the people in her community and what she can and can't do. And I'm like, oh my God, like you are throttling your own success, like just by the way you think and talk. And I'm sure you had some limiting beliefs, and that's the second piece of Bold, right? Overcome limiting beliefs. What was the mechanism? What was the system for overcoming those limiting beliefs?
Well, no pressure, no diamonds. There's another one. That's your limiting belief. Your limiting belief is that I can't do this because society says that's not the way to go. I had a lot of pressure when I was first getting into the foreclosure business, and I was running hard with it, and it was gaining momentum. And I had a broker at the time come to me and say, you're just driving down our average sale price. And I said, well, it's not my problem that you are taking traditional sales and also applying to foreclosure sales as far as volume and average sale prices. I wouldn't let a limiting belief drag me down. I've always been one that if you tell me no, I'll show you how it's really yes.
So, but okay, I mean that's a great attitude to have, but so is overcoming limiting beliefs just that simple? Is it just having a different attitude?
I think limiting beliefs is not only a part of society as a whole, but it's another aspect of gold. It's your drunk monkey saying, "Oh, you don't want to do that. You can't do that." You have to change the way you look at things. Limiting beliefs will crush you. It won't help you grow. It won't help you get $1 more than you got last time.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I stopped you. I didn't mean to. I thought your pausing is, I don't know you well enough to know she's pausing or she's done. So, but
I think I was done.
Okay. So again, I agree with you. I agree that limiting beliefs will throttle your growth. It'll all that stuff. But here's what I want to understand, and what I want to get my audience to understand is, what are those mindset exercises that help you, or how does Bold help you overcome those limiting beliefs?
My limiting belief, one of the ones that I was challenged on as far as personally, was picking up the phone and calling someone.
Okay.
My limiting belief was, you can't do that. People won't listen to you. You can't do that. It's not successful. You will get hung up on. They won't even listen to you. You're not going to get any listings out of it. You're not going to go anywhere with it. That was one of my limiting beliefs.
Wow.
It was really hard to pick up the phone and, I have a database quite large. To call people 100 people in a day, it was easy. I just picked the ones that I bonded with the most, called them. But the limiting belief of picking up the phone to call that expired listing to say, hey, what happened? And get that appointment. So I pushed myself. Okay, I got a limiting belief. I can't pick up the phone. I can't call someone because it's not going to go anywhere. That was my biggest one. My turning point was when I made the first 10 phone calls and realized that limiting belief wasn't true. It held me back. So now I just pick up the phone.
Yeah, but so you started with on that belief. You said, "Well, I can't do it," and then you said, and which is not true. But then you said a lot of things that were true. Hey, listen, if I called, they're not going to listen to me. Hey, and if you have that in the back of your mind, I'm not going to get any listings. You're going to make. I mean, the universe will deliver no listings to you. So, what was the thing? There had to be something a little bit more mechanically for you to go, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to force myself to pick up the phone because listen, that viewpoint, that mindset that you had is common to a lot of people. So, what is the thing that helped you break that other chain? The notion, the deep down in your soul that you said, nobody's going to listen to me. I'm not going to get any listings.
The deep down was, I listened for a few of the weeks to people who picked up the phone and had the same limiting belief, and it worked for them. And it became easier for them. And I have a very good friend who teaches Bold, who does the same thing. And he always encouraged me before I took Bold to take Bold and to follow through with, everything that is taught there. As I watched other people succeed, I thought, I can do that. I can be just like that. I can do that. It's working for them.
Right.
Am I still going to get someone who's not going to listen to me? Yes. But my conversion rate on floor calls has always been 9 out of 10. So my conversion rate to picking up the phone and actually successfully gaining an appointment is going to be just as high.
9 out of 10? What? No. So you get 1 out of 10. I don't understand. You didn't when you make 10 calls.
I can get out of 10 calls, I can convert 9 of them to a customer or a client. I've always been like that.
How?
It's always been
hold on. How? Because look, you're a super nice person, but you're not Tony Robbins, right? You didn't get on this call, and you're not necessarily a super. Look, Tony Robbins is a captivating guy. You're not at that level. So, what is the thing that allowed you to do that? I mean, is this just like some fancy scripting, or I'm intrigued.
Most of the time when someone is calling on a property, they're looking for some place to move. They're looking for the ideal home. When a floor call comes in, I tell them about the property, same spiel as everyone else. However, I dig in a little bit deeper. So, you're looking for that 3-bedroom, 2-bath. What kind of price range? Does it matter what area you're in? What kind of price range are you looking for? And you get them to enjoy the conversation. You're taking... I tend to be a little bit more on the personal side than the professional side. I want to find out what are the details of this move that they're looking at. Are they already working with a lender? Just by digging in and telling them, hey, let me put you on this auto feed from the MLS to look up to 4 times a day, send you listings, new price reduced, back on the market. Not a lot of realtors in my area offer that service. It's always been there. They don't set... By doing something that someone else doesn't offer, and I know what they don't offer because I hear it time and time again, that, oh, wow, you really know what you're doing. I want to work with you because you're going to give me all the properties that I want to see. And I've always had this uncanny ability to match I can show a buyer a set of houses one day, and I can find them the ideal home for them within a couple of days of showings. It could be 3 or 4 properties each, but I can find them that good future home, their dream home, and I just have always had that ability to match the house with the buyer.
Got it. Okay, so that makes I was unclear. So what you're saying, when on the floor when you get when people dial into you, I thought you were saying you were making cold calls and you're converting 9 out of 10. So the other way makes sense because look, NAR came out with a stat and said that 87% of people will hire the first realtor they meet. So that makes sense, right? So that's for out of 10, that's 8.7, and that's your conversion is 9.
Right.
So Diana Kokoska is the one who sort of is the backbone of this bold thing. And I've talked with her before. She will not come on the show because. I'm not sure why she thinks I'm a competitor to her because I do this training and it's free. But she is the quote unquote, she's the queen of systems and scripts. And early on when you start talking about bold, you said, okay, she hung up. She hung up on me. Holy crap. Holy crap, she hung up.
Hi, Toby.
Hey, did we lose that connection?
I was fine on my end. You were talking and then you just faded off.
Oh, got it. Okay. Sorry. I record through Skype, so maybe we somehow dropped. So here's what I was saying is, so you when you first got on this call, you said, "Man, I learned some great scripts that really sort of helped me transform my business." I mean, everybody wants some scripting. Maybe give us an idea of what those scripts look like, or what was so eye-opening to you.
Oh, just the scripts in general. I'm not going to go through the scripts. I would prefer, you don't have to be a Keller Williams agent to take bold. A lot of people don't understand that. I had RE/MAX agents at my bold. I do offer anyone outside of my company and my broker to go and take bold. It's the same course. You're more than welcome to take it. And that's where you learn the scripts. You learn the challenges. I took it with a teammate, and we weren't on the same team. they pair you up and set you on your own team. So you're working with people that you don't know on a common ground every week to make the team's goals.
Right. No. And look. So I understand that, but I'm just here's what I'm trying to get at. Like I've had Mike Ferry on the show, right? So Mike is a very big scripting guy, and for expireds, for example, he does. And look, I love Mike, but he does some kind of kooky stuff, right? So for expireds, he will encourage people to literally go to somebody's front door, and here's the script. Hello, my name's Toby. We have an emergency. You are completely unrepresented at this time, right? And I can go on and on and on, but I'm like, oh, really, man? That is so robotic. So, I mean, how are your scripts different and magical compared to somebody like Mike?
Well, generally by knocking on the front door, you have a person-to-person conversation. I do wear my name tag that says I'm a Keller Williams agent, and I do talk to them about why they've expired, why they aren't on the market. There are some areas where we've been short listings for a long time, and I've had to resort to go to door knocking and calling on expireds just to see if they still want to sell their house. I mean, obviously they were on the market for some reason. Let's find out what that reason is.
Right. So, I mean, walk us through how is, and that's the same thing Mike will say. He will say, go to their front door, right? Go, like, if that expired, like, you should look at, that's your homework at 5 a.m. and go, get to their front door at 7:45. Now, I don't know that I would agree with that. I mean, that's pretty early for you to knock on my door. But I mean, again, instead of saying, if you knock on the door, what are you going to say to me, right? Mike will say, we have an emergency. What are you going to tell me when you knock my door? I'm going to go, I think it's great that you wear a name tag. I think that's a great thing. So, I can look and go, okay, now I get why you're knocking on my door. But so how would you convert me in that stage?
Well, generally, I open up the conversation with explaining who I am and where I'm from, and I have a market analysis for your property. And a lot of them will say, we were working with a realtor and we just can't sell. The market is flat. Well, then I bring up the statistics and how busy we are. I have houses. I do pride myself on being one of the more aggressive priced. When I price a home, I'm aggressive on it in this area. I feel that we need to be. Some of the properties, when I first got into real estate, it was normal to sit on the market for maybe 60 days. If you were there at 120, there was something wrong with your house.
Yeah.
But today, it's the normal. You're on the market 120 days. Oh, it's the market. We blame the market. So I sit down with them and say, well, I would love to discuss with you the market analysis that I have for your property, because I saw that you were listed at X, and I'm showing that you should have sold at X, and I don't understand. Then you get into the schematics of how you operate your business. Is it the pictures? How many of us know that those pictures can really sell a house online or not? I do use a professional photographer, so we're able to do that correctly and tick that box. It could be a matter of, let's go over what your goal is. Did you want to move? Did you want to sell your home? And I just get into different, depending on what their answer is, I just get into different areas that are emotion-based.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you have to get them to engage, and I think again, like if I go back and compare kind of like your methodology compared to Mike's, it's that personal connection with when you have a script like that is not, you lose that, and it's all becomes very sort of shady is not the right word, but I don't know. Okay, I get it. So one of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to get into, and I think this is part of Bold as well, is you said you have a large database. Now, everybody knows that, that hopefully everybody knows that you should always be building your database. How did you build, what do you do to build your database, and what do you do with it?
I didn't do much with it when I was with my previous broker because, as you know, real estate is not an area like an hourly job where they sit you down and say, this is what you do, then you do this then you do this. Nobody teaches you this stuff. For years, I didn't have a database, and I didn't work it. I didn't work it for referrals. My first referral, because I didn't work it, came in 5 years.
Oh, my gosh.
From the time I started, it took me 5 years to get my first referral because I didn't know how to work that. I took a lot of free classes offered by my board, but it was more about lending and property inspections and such. They didn't have one that said, hey, you need to do this. I'm not from Battle Creek, so I didn't really have a sphere of influence to fall back on. It was a matter of just working floor calls. If I could do floor calls for 8 hours, I worked them for 8 hours. It was how much, I can get a buyer. It took me a little bit to get, it took me 3 months to get my first listing. Not being from the area, I should have worked my database. Now I'm in the process of converting a current database that I have through an online web system into Keller Williams so I can start drip campaigns. Now I've learned through Bold that I sit, when I work with a buyer and we're writing up an offer, I give them each, husband and wife, each get 2 business cards. Can you give me 2 of your friends that would like to buy or sell?
And what happens?
I usually get 1, but it's one I didn't have yesterday.
Yeah. If you gave me your 2 business cards, I'd just throw, you know what, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even take them. Like, cause I don't, I'm kind of a digital guy, or I want to be digital. I'd say, hey, no, thanks. I have your number in my phone.
Oh, I don't have anyone that does that. In fact, I give them 2 business cards and say, keep these in your wallet. Let me know if you have 2 friends.
Wow.
But then I say, do you know right now of 2 people that might be wanting to look for a home? And I usually get the numbers right then.
And I think one of the things, that's a good question to ask. And I personally don't think that's enough to ask. And, I had, I'll tell you a quick story. I'll tell everybody this story. So in college, I painted houses, whatever. This one girl I painted, this one lady, but we hit it off. She was young. She was going to throw a party for her husband. She asked me this weird question. She said, do you know anybody that plays music? I'm throwing a party for Tom. And I said, I don't. Sorry. And I didn't know what, that was my immediate knee-jerk reaction. I don't know anybody that plays music. And then a couple days later, she said, hey, do you know a DJ that can play music? And I'm like, oh, yeah, my roommate, right? He's a DJ. And it was just so funny, like her not asking me the right question, like, she didn't get, I wasn't able to refer her only because she asked me kind of a weird question. I didn't put play music and DJ together for some weird reason. So I tell you that, Cassie, because, you can say, hey, do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell right now? That's one question. And I think it's important to then go one step further. Go, hold on. Are you sure you don't know anybody at work, anybody at church, anybody at your health club that has mentioned real estate in the last month or week or whatever you want to say?
Correct. Yes, I have a young couple, and when they went to church, they would host youth meetings at their home, and I would say, so how many people in your youth meeting rent their apartment? Oh, well, we've got 3 of them. Well, so can I talk to them about possibly, I'd be happy to come in and do a buyer seminar with them. Oh, we've tried to get them to do that before. And they just don't understand it. Well, but I can do a seminar, no pressure, just to show them what the benefits of home ownership are. Well, so that didn't go anywhere. So the next time I go to show them a house, hey, how many of your friends rent an apartment that really don't like renting? Oh, there's a couple of us. Can I get their name and number? Can I talk to them about? Then I got a name and number. Persistence is a lot of this, and you have to word it different, like you had said. DJ versus music, you have to word it different every single time.
Yep, I totally agree. So okay, so for as I understand from your answer a minute ago, so your current database, you're just doing sort of the common, putting people on drip campaigns, and that's great because you didn't do it before. You're not doing anything exotic in terms of because I'm on Bold site. Build an abundance of leads into your business database. What could you talk about that before we jump off the database topic?
as far as I missed that totally.
Sorry, Cassie. Again, I'm looking at the Bold website, and one of the bullet points says build an abundance of leads into your database. And my here's my sort of setup for this. Everybody wants to build their database. What did you learn to build an abundance of leads into your database?
The one thing that I learned from my Bold class about leads is I wasn't doing it consistently.
Yeah.
I wasn't, it has to be a consistent process. You have to be consistently trying to build your database. You have to be consistent about asking for the leads or going for the leads or searching for the leads. I never was consistent at it. That's one thing that made me realize, hey, I've missed quite a bit because I wasn't consistent in building my database.
Right.
So now I have a whole different process in place for building those leads, building the database. When I ask for a lead, when I ask for a referral, how many times I do each one.
Yeah. And I think it's important, when you're going to ask for a referral, I think there's an art to the timing of that within the process. I'll tell you what my notion is, but tell me yours. At what point do you say, "Hey, give me a referral"?
Not at the closing table. It's too late.
Yes, I agree.
If I never ask for a referral on the very first appointment. The first appointment could entail meeting at a property to see it, or it could entail just going over the whole process of buying a home. It could be, and this is with just buyers only. On the second appointment, when you've made a little bit more stronger bond with that buyer, and you've gotten to know them a little bit better about their different dislikes and likes in a property, then I ask, so do you know anyone else? On listing appointment, go through the listing appointment, and 9 out of 10 times, the listing appointment, I can go in and compete with 8 realtors and walk out with that listing. Why? I do one thing that none of them do, and it seems like none of them, time and time again, do this. They don't give the seller a net sheet. Seller hasn't sold a house in 25 years. They don't know what kind of expenses they're going to incur in selling their home. I give them a net sheet based off of the list price.
Interesting.
That's one of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things that most of my competitors don't give the seller.
Because that's interesting that you do that, and it's interesting that you're having good success with that. Because I get bummed out when I see the bottom line. Right, if I'm going to sell my house for $350, for me, I just want to have that $350 in my head. I don't want to have $350 minus everybody's commission and the courier $75 fee. I get bummed out on that net sheet. It's amazing that people. So what is that? What do you think that says? That they walk away going, Cassie's very thorough, or Cassie's very transparent, or what is the thing that you think people walk away from that?
I think because I am so thorough, I want no surprises. Start to finish. I don't want any surprises. So at the list price, I run them a net sheet and show them what their bottom line is going to look like. If they don't like it, I can't make the market any better. But when an offer comes in, I also run another net sheet that has all of the criteria of the offer embedded into it, so they can see what the offer would net them in order to make a good decision.
Do you when you show them that net sheet, right? You get an offer, and you show them the net sheet. Do they go, geez, Cassie, I kind of like that offer, but man, you're taking a big chunk here. Maybe could you come down? I mean, does that open any negotiation on your commission conversations?
No.
Huh.
I have never. I have walked into a couple listing appointments where they wanted to negotiate my commission down a full percent, and I don't usually take those listings
Sorry.
I did that once, and I found out that I worked so hard for nothing. The property came up expired. They went with a different realtor because I was new at the time. I made a determination that I work so hard that I don't want to shortchange myself.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, you got to stand up for yourself. But what do you? So I will. Again, I've used. I'm an investor. I'm not. I don't sell real estate, Cassie. I sell my own. But I negotiate everybody's rate down. So what would you, if I say, hey, Cassie, yeah, look, I'm going to pay the buyer's agent 2.5, and I'm going to pay you 2. I'm going to do most of the work. What are you going to tell me? Tell me how you handle that objection.
Oh, well, when I'm representing a buyer, I take what is offered by the selling agent, the listing agent.
Right. But you're going to list my place. What do you? And I want to only pay you 2. What are you going to tell me?
What would I pay the other realtor? Can't expect them to work for free.
No. So right. So in this. So right. Cassie. I'm going to let you list my house. Here's the deal. I'm going to pay the buyer's agent 2.5, and I want to pay you 2.
No.
Just no. But that's it.
Usually I say that and I pause and they just look at me, kind of like your reaction. Is that it? And then I say, I have had over 1,480 transactions in 13 years. I work very hard. I am going to go above and beyond what you're going to expect from me, and I don't want to work for free.
No, I'm paying you 2%. The house is $500,000. I can do the math. 2% is not for free, Cassie. So I'll do 500, 1, 2, 3 times 0.02. You're going to get $10,000 out of the thing. I mean, why do you want to? Isn't that enough?
No, it's not enough. If you're an investor, so do you own rental properties?
I do.
Do you own some free and clear?
Almost all of them.
Okay. So what is your average rent on one of your rental units?
$2,200.
$2,200. So because you own these free and clear, I want to rent one of your properties, and I know you own them free and clear. So because you own them free and clear, I only want to give you like $1,000.
Yeah, but
you own them free and clear, so you don't have any mortgage on it to pay, and you have 10 of these units. That's more than enough money, right?
No, but I had to pay. I put in $600,000 after tax to buy that house, Cassie.
But you own them free and clear.
Because I paid $600,000 for them, Cassie.
Yes, and I paid for my education and my experience.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. I don't want to beat you up like that. Hey, and we'll jump off this for a second. Look, I will say, here's my viewpoint on it. When you ask for, if you have a listing, I don't think you the time when you ask for referral is when you get an offer that that looks good. Hey, here's the offer. It looks great. I vetted the buyer. They can pull it off. Green light. Hey, by the way, listen, who else can I help, right? Who do you know that I can do the same thing for? So I think for when you have a listing, I think that's when you ask for a referral. And then if you have a buyer, I think it's when you get an offer accepted, right? Hey, I got this and this for you. Who else? I think if you're strategic about being careful about when you ask for that, I don't know. What's your take on that? Those two timing components.
I think it is. You have to be strategic about when you ask for the referral. At the wrong time just shows that you haven't really earned enough of respect from the client. When you first meet someone, it's a really bad time to say, hey, do you know of anyone else? There's no bond there. I normally ask for referrals on a listing appointment. Once they sign the listing. Again, when an offer comes in. Again, when we go over any extension or addendum from the home inspection, or maybe the lender can't close on time. And then again at the closing table. So that gives me more than enough opportunities to find out, hey, the neighbors know you're moving. Can I help them?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. I agree with that. I think, asking multiple times. All right. We have to start wrapping up. The last piece of bold, strategize time-saving tactics for expanding your business to the top. What kind of time-saving tactics do you employ in your business?
I address emails at certain times. Okay. I address phone calls at certain times, and I do not let something interrupt me. I am infamous for, an email comes in, I'm working on something, I'm working on a CMA, an email comes in, I've got to check that right away.
Yeah.
I let it go.
Got it.
because I'm allowing me to interrupt myself during work.
Yeah. I look, I love it. You know, are you one of those people, and I hate these people when, you know, I call you, it goes to voicemail and your voicemail says, hey, you know, this is Cassie, I'm not here. I'll be returning calls at 11 and at 5, right? I don't want to wait. If I call you at 11:30, I do not want to wait till 5. Talk to me about how do you talk about that for a second?
I try to always get my phone calls as they come in.
Okay.
If I'm working on a CMA, I don't let that interrupt anything. I want to finish that task because I can get sidetracked very easily. That's just my nature. However, if I'm not working on something and I'm just doing a basic search just to see a hot sheet for the area or whatever, and an email comes in, I do call that person right away. I read a statistic online last week that said the average buyer, when they click enter to find out more information about a property, they expect a phone call within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So right after I had read that, I was just running a basic hot sheet to see what the market had done. I run about 3 of those a day. And an email came in, and I picked up the phone, and I called, and that buyer was like, oh, my gosh, you are the fastest realtor I know.
Right.
I just hit enter. And I think once they realize that we are live, they do expect us to be live, but once we are live, I think they realize that we know what the market's doing, we're on task, everything. I never put, I'll return calls from 1 to 3. I feel that that's more of a negative.
Yeah, I agree.
For whoever's calling in. I also don't agree with, hey, I'm going to be on vacation for the next 10 days. I don't ever put that in there. I check my email when I'm on vacation, my voicemail, or I have my assistant do it and forward to the appropriate team member.
Yep. I love it, Cassie. And I agree with all that stuff. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. I actually had a question for you, and I forgot it. But again, we have to wrap up. I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to end this with asking you the same questions I ask everybody. Here's the first one. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Okay. I've had Jay Popson and Dave Jinks on the show. You can't say that book. It's been recommended way too many times. I do agree that everybody should have that book, but give me another one.
Oh, I have so many other ones that and none of them really comes to mind. The One Thing is what I'm currently reading.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just picked it up to read.
It's another one. It's all you KW guys. You go all. I need to be better at this. If somebody comes from Keller Williams, I need to say you can't recommend any of Gary's books because I just get it too often. But yeah, The One Thing is good. I think everybody should read that. And if anybody, look, number one, if you haven't read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, you have to. And yeah. You know, if you haven't read The One Thing, go grab it. And look, you can get a free copy of either one of these books. Just use our link, audibletrial.com/superagentslive, and get a free copy. Here's my last question, and this is always sort of intriguing to me, and sometimes I get good answers, sometimes I don't. If you don't have a good one, that's okay. Do you have any personal habits that you feel has contributed to your success?
My personal habits are, I like to be prompt and on task.
Love it. Prompt on task. Hey, Cassie, really, again, thanks for coming on the show. I think it turned out a good one. We kind of had to get warmed up here, but I think once we got warmed up, it came out great. So I appreciate you sharing your vast knowledge with us. Let everybody know where they can find you. Where can they reach out and say hello? Where can they reach out and say thanks for coming on the show?
They can reach me at my Facebook page, which is Cassie Roberts, or they can reach me at i.sell.michigan@gmail.com.
Awesome. Cassie, thanks again. Let's keep in touch.
Okay. Thanks, Toby.
See you, Kathy. Cassie.
Bye.
Sorry.
Let's go.